Let me first of all, can I get this one?
Yes.
And give me this one as well, please. Thank you.
You're saying it like pick and mix.
Yeah, well, they're there to be picked.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you for these, right?
No problem.
Now, my question is a question I asked over there as well because I saw something on their thing, right? And
Yeah.
what it is this. You see this Jesus thing now?
Yeah.
Why is it got here? Jesus is a Muslim.
Okay. Because the Quran states he was a Muslim. That's a simple answer.
Okay.
More detailed
Did he
answer.
say Jesus? See what I mean?
Okay. Muslim first, you probably come across it.
Yeah.
It means someone who submits to God.
Yeah.
Aslama yaslimu Islam, and submission to God.
Yep.
So we believe.
I'm just gonna put this in here, yeah?
No problem.
Go on, brother.
We believe all of the messengers, they call to Islam. Do you want me to show you verses from Quran or you?
No, I'm familiar with that part.
Okay, so, but when we say Jesus, obviously Jesus is the European pronunciation of Isa, as the Quran calls him Isa.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So is your point the word Muslim or is your point the word Jesus or the word?
You can't multiple choice it for me. I'll tell you what my point
No problem,
is, right?
no problem.
Yeah, let's develop the thing. Right. So what I'm saying to you first of all is this: there was no J in the English language, right? 500 years ago, 1,000
Yes.
years. So that's first of all the wrong thing. Secondly, right, the Quran calls him Isa,
Yes.
but the Quran also acknowledges the Old Testament. So called Jesus.
Okay. The Torah and the
It's
Old,
supposed to be before the
the
Quran.
Torah and the Old Testament, is that the same thing?
Some of it.
Okay. That's one thing. So, as you know, the Jews or the Christians, sometimes they will use the word Torah for the first 5 books, and sometimes they use Torah as a collective name for all the 39 books.
Well, I'm not bundling
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Christians
Yeah.
because the Jewish people,
Yeah.
the what do you call it, Jewish faith?
Yeah, they'll call it
They-
Tanakh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do not acknowledge Jesus as being.
Yes.
They come with a Messiah.
No, my point was Torah or Old Testament.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
my point is that you
Yeah.
conflated the two together, and I'm saying I'm not doing that. You was doing that. I wasn't doing that.
Okay.
I'm just making you aware that I'm
No
aware
problem.
of the differences between the two.
But when the Quran says Torah, we're not talking about the first 5 books of the Old Testament.
Okay, fine. But what I'm saying to you is not even that. I'm
Uh-huh.
saying to you
Yeah.
that the Torah or
Yeah.
the Tanakh doesn't say Isa. They talk about Yeshua.
Okay. But
Right, so that's now
Uh-huh.
3 names we got now.
Uh-huh.
We got the one we definitely know that it's a mistranslation actually, and it was
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah.
Jesus thing, which when
Yeah.
you put the I in there,
Yeah.
the European language you got Isos,
Yes.
right, and then the Spanish Isos.
Uh-huh.
Right, then when you come down from there,
Yeah.
all right, which was the Quran, the Christian thing was supposed to be for the Quran, they say.
Yeah.
Then you got Isa, the Quranic, the Muslim
Yes.
saying is Isa,
Yes.
and before both of them,
Yeah.
you have the Jews saying a Yeshua talk.
Okay.
All right,
One thing though.
right. 3 different. Wait. 3 different names, and they got 3 different characteristics for those people. One being the Son of God, one being a prophet, and one being is supposed to come in the future.
Okay. When you say Yeshua,
Yeah. When they say,
okay, or when it is said Yeshua,
yes, yeah, okay.
they're referring. Yeshua is Joshua, what the English call Joshua.
No, you can't go back down the J. You've got to leave the J alone.
No, I'm saying what the European know is Joshua. So I'm asking you where Yeshua is referring to the Messiah, that the Messiah will be called Yeshua.
Where they refer Yeshua to Messiah, I'm not too sure. Wait, you remember, because I don't know. It's like saying, do you know the road down there? And I said, well, I don't know.
No, I understand.
Right, so I'm
we
saying
can't
that,
have, we can't have all information in
No,
front
I'm
of
not
us.
saying that, but you're
Yeah.
making a different question from what I'm making, right? And I don't mind dealing with your questions, but I need to deal with my questions, because that's the whole point.
No, but my question is about your. I don't agree.
Don't answer your question.
Before I answer, I don't agree with your question because your question
don't
is.
agree with my
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
that's okay.
I'll tell you why.
You don't have to
Yeah,
agree with my
I know we
question.
don't have to agree, but when
No, you
you
don't
say
agree with my
when you
question.
say that the Old Testament calls him Yeshua,
No, I moved that in it because you rightly said.
No, you mentioned 3 names: Jesus, the European one,
I deal with
Isa.
the truth properly. I'm not
Yeah.
going to pretend. I don't pretend to scratch, but I don't itch and things like that.
No
And
problem.
If I see you scratch, I'm not going to say I never saw you scratching.
Yes.
And if
But you said
you say something wrong about me, I'm saying to you that's not right, bro.
You said there's 3 versions of the name.
I'm saying
Paraphrased.
Right.
So I'm asking you, where does it? And you said the Old Testament, the Torah, refers to him as Yeshua. So I'm asking
Is that true or not?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay.
Because he's not mentioned in the Old Testament.
Oh, he's not mentioned in the Old Testament.
No.
So
not by name.
Okay, so he's not mentioned. Yeshua is not there.
If Yeshua is there, it's not talking. It's not talking about
right.
Jesus.
Okay,
because
right, good. No. Remember I said this.
Yeah.
Forget the J. You got to throw that away. The J thing is only 500 years. It's coming to this. So now you're down to 2. You're down to 2. You're down to Isa
or Yeshua
or Yeshua.
So
or Emmanuel. Okay? See?
He will be called Emmanuel, but the prophecy says that he will be called Emmanuel.
There you go.
But
they're all prophecies.
But Matthew said that the verse in Isaiah about Emmanuel was referring to the one Europe calls Jesus.
No,
but
Matthew didn't even say none of that.
But he did. But in his whole life, or the Bible says he did. But in his whole life, in his whole life, according to the New Testament, no one ever called him Emmanuel.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But you can say all of that. What I'm saying to you is that when you go and look up the word Emmanuel, and then everybody who does relate that to biblical text for some reason,
God is with you.
That's right. That's what they relate it to. That's why I talk about that. They, not me.
But the prophecy says he will be called that, not he will be described that way. He will be called that.
All that is like. My point is this: it's just come down to the simple thing. Is that one, the Jesus thing didn't exist, right? The name never existed, right? So, if you're talking the truth, why associate with something that's a fiction?
It's just a bit different.
There you go, just the thing. So this is standard, right?
Okay, I'm going to answer you.
Yeah, go on.
Because we use words which are commonly known by people in order people may understand.
So if it's a fiction, you still want to use it?
It's how he's known and how he's recognized.
How who's known? He didn't exist.
Well, the person existed, but not.
How do you know he existed?
But not by that name.
No, but how do you know that's the same person?
Okay, I will tell you. As Muslims, we only accept what comes in Quran. I'm going to tell you. If something is in what is called the Old Testament or the New Testament, we will only affirm it if it's in Quran. So because Quran has told us that a messenger was sent to the children of Israel, who was the Messiah, who was Isa, we affirm it.
Okay, so you're saying that you're saying that Isa is Jesus now, right?
That's who Isa is. Who Isa is what is commonly known in Europe or in the English language as Jesus.
And that's the same person?
Yes, you can take it like this.
Okay. So the commonly known.
Yeah.
So you're saying that this name that that the Isa name that's supposed to come after this other book, this New Testament, let's say, right?
Yes.
Gospels, right?
Yeah.
You're saying that the character in there is the same character that's in the Quran.
You mean the one in the Quran is the same as the New Testament?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'll say no.
Right, cool. I would agree with that based on the text.
But I'll tell you why.
Well, tell me why. Not like I don't know.
So what's your name?
Terry.
Okay, Terry. I'm going to use you as an example. Okay?
You should stick to the text.
No, but I'm going to use you as an example. If we talk about Terry, I mention something about you, I mention something about you, I mention something about you, but then I lie about you. Okay? Terry, he was in Stratford and he was with 2 friends.
Yes. Blatant lie, right?
Yeah, blatant lie.
But then again, you can rule my friends. So
that's true. That's true.
Examples are very difficult to use in real world.
Okay, he approached us and there was a man on his right and on his left while he spoke to Yusuf.
Remember, you appreciate that you're setting the scenario, right?
Yeah.
So,
my point is, of course, I'm still talking about Terry, even though the description of him may be wrong or I may have lied about him. So let me finish. So when, for example, the Old Testament talks about God, He created the heavens and the earth in 6 days and rested on the 7th day. We affirm that they are talking about Allah. He created the heavens and the earth. But we negate the fact that He rested on the 7th day.
Okay, so
You're
saying now.
you see my point. You see my argument.
I see your point. Your point is that misrepresentation. But you're saying what you're saying is that these people have misrepresented how the thing goes. They've misrepresented this God thing. I'm not even going to come to say Allah yet.
No
this
problem.
God thing, and they've misrepresented this Jesus thing.
Yes.
So everybody who associates a certain behaviour and certain events with this Jesus, if the Quran says that it's not in there, if it's not mentioned in the Quran, therefore the Quran does not verify it. Would that be fair enough?
100%. Yes.
Right. If that's 100% right, then how can you align Allah with God? Because if that is the case, you're aligning Allah with something less than itself. You're aligning Allah with God, and God has got the limitations.
Sorry, but just a name. Some people call God, Allah.
Okay, I understand that's how you think about it. Yeah.
Like, so, for
I
example,
understand that's how you think about it. You think it's just different names. I can show you something so you understand it. They've got this thing in this country they call white lies. Whereas people of a certain cultural way, standard, it's all right to lie. It's all right, tell a little white lie. That's okay. Now the Quran don't accept white lies. What they call white lies.
Abraham lied about his wife.
anyway,
But they don't. Did Allah accept that?
Yes, it's in the Quran.
It's in the Quran that Allah accepted. Did Allah encourage it?
No.
Yeah,
no,
right.
no.
No, you wouldn't be. You wouldn't.
No.
I know. You wouldn't be. That's what I'm saying. This is what happens with it, right? But so, because you're giving your opinion based on your opinion, bro, which is understandable, but it's not correct. All right. When we look at the simple part of nature, it's not correct. Right. But back to this, or forward to this. What my point is that this thing, I can understand Muslim submit itself to the will of Allah. It doesn't say submit itself to the will of God. It's Allah. Allah is not God, because if you go for the God thing links up with Jesus being the Son of God, Jesus dying on a cross, and various other things that Islam doesn't accept, and also the
I disagree.
Oh, what, you disagree with that, or you disagree with what I'm saying?
I disagree with what you're saying.
Oh, so this is another kind of Islam then?
No, I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, go on.
When we say Allah, we are referring to the true one who deserves to be worshipped alone. Okay. We don't call Allah God. Let me finish. In terms of let me finish. I haven't finished.
Yeah.
In terms of worship. So, if we are describing.
Yeah, go on.
If we are describing to someone, we can use the word creator, we can use the word almighty, we can use the word God, as in the one who alone deserves to be worshipped. But
You have to qualify it.
But when it comes to acts of worship, as a Muslim, I can say, "Oh Allah, forgive me."
Yeah.
I cannot say, "Oh God, forgive me," because when it comes to worship, it has to be only that which is mentioned in Quran and Sunnah. Information we can use.
Right, so you can, but that's what I'm telling you. I'm saying to you this,
Yeah.
listen.
You understand the difference in information and worship?
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that, of course
Yeah.
I do understand
Yeah.
the difference between information and worship.
Yeah.
Right? Come on. Right, but what I'm saying to you is that all of that what you're talking is some sideline thing from what I'm talking about. You're talking about something that is you don't have to have God to do all of your or carry out your thing. What I'm saying to you is what I've got on here.
Yeah.
The public facing side of it is substandard for me, because you've got the one true God.
Yeah.
This is what you've got here, the one true God. Now, when I was asking your brother, about this, he goes, "Oh, we do it." Yes, this is what he says. He says, "Well, we do that because a lot of people wouldn't know what we're talking about."
Yes, that is the point.
I said, I understand your. In essence, I know where you're coming from. In essence, but in fact.
Why but then? If you know where we're coming from, why are you going to say but?
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a side.
Because you know but cancels what came before it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't cancel what came before it. You want to set them rules and make it be like that. I can turn the square on its side, you know. Not like I'm not stuck in some rigid kind of little European way of doing things. Look.
Yes.
Right, good. So what I'm saying to you is this: it's the substandard, because what's happened is that this is now become associated with this.
Let me just see. What point are you looking? Read it to me. Sorry.
It says Jesus is a Muslim.
Yes.
I know what one means in essence, but in fact it's not correct. This is not the real. I would put the real thing here. I would say Isa is a Muslim, and then if anything, say, and then the person asks me, who is Isa, then I can explain it. Now, if I can put A lot of people know Muhammad, know about Muhammad, or heard
Yeah.
about Muhammad, and a lot of people don't know.
Uh-huh.
So the excuse of saying, well, people just wouldn't know what we mean, that's your point. That you should be able to give them what you mean in truth, not in falsehood. In truth, it's like you get a little baby, you teach them from they're young properly. You don't give them falsehood,
Terry?
and then make the falsehood. Make the falsehood become fair seeming. Make it be okay, isn't it?
Can I say something?
There's going to be an excuse.
If
Do you see my
what,
point?
I see your point.
Thank you.
If we get another opportunity, I would put that post. I would take on board what you said and put Isa, and then brackets Jesus is a Muslim.
I wouldn't use the. I wouldn't. I would not. I would
No
not.
problem. No
I
problem.
would not water down the thing at all, man.
Because here we're talking about conveying information in a way that can be understood.
You cannot.
You don't have to agree with me,
No,
but that's my point.
Okay, yeah, but
Yeah.
I say we can have a conversation about it. You've
No
moved to a
problem.
particular position, which I really respect you for doing that. Not because it's a point that I put forward, but it's a point of order.
No, it makes sense.
Right. And also, a natural nature tends to make sense. Natural things in nature.
I agree.
The next thing is this. What I'm saying to you is this, and this is why I've taken my time out sometimes I see these things, because I know that we've inherited something, right? All of us, we've inherited a whole way of things that's been done that was set up in the past to
No
distract
doubt.
us,
No
right?
doubt.
And then those people who set it up is dead and gone and left the program running on us.
I agree.
So
we're all affected by our environment and our backgrounds.
And remember, even Allah's supposed to create it Shaitan anyway. So
Of course.
So all things lead back to that same root. Yeah. So what I'm saying, if this it could be a test for us under righteousness, under the righteousness banner. Yeah. And so if it's when the truth comes, should we surrender to the truth? And those who say they are of the book, those who say they are of this, they have to show it in deeds. How would we know? It's in their deeds, isn't it?
Yes.
If they can be corrected in the simple broad daylight of truth, common sense truth that we've all been born with, all right, that we can then weigh up and value those simple things. Somebody can't do that. Egos coming in, all the negative egos coming in.
We're human, yes.
Sorry?
We're human, we try our best, but it's very hard to block out everything.
I hear you in one sense, right? But in another sense, that's not even correcting the Christian thing in the text, and not correcting the Quranic thing, because we don't get. It's better for us.
No,
but we knew, right?
In Quran we have it.
We
I'll
do.
give you two verses. One is
Thank you.
Allah mentions in Surah An-Nisa. I can give you the number, but He mentioned خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانَ ضَعِيفًا. Mankind has been created weak. We have weaknesses. Second, Allah commands فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah as much as you're able. What Allah's commanded us is to fear Him as much as we're able. Because human beings who are created weak, everything we do has some kind of deficiency in it.
Say this to you, man. That's very. I tell you, brother. With all due respect, that is very westernized school of thought.
I just gave you evidence from Quran.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you
I can't do anything in a perfect manner. I try my best. Yeah.
Okay, all right. If you go in the Christian room, it talks about this in the Christian.
Can I just let me just interrupt one moment. Like, you're talking to me now.
Yeah.
Well, it's recorded anyway. If you go back,
That's all right, good man. But we got to have a conversation because it's for future generations, right? Yeah, go on.
if you go back over what you have presented to me now, you will definitely say some of it you agree with, some of it you said, I think I could have said that in a better way. Do you see what I mean? Or maybe, and Yusuf said this to me and I let it slide, but I should have said this.
Yes.
Because human beings, we're not able to do anything perfect, but we do فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah as much as you're able.
Okay.
Yes.
Now your point?
Yes.
Okay. I hear that. All right, but also,
Yeah.
there's a deen of Allah.
Yes.
So that wouldn't make no sense in what you're talking about if you're following the way of Allah. The reason why, because Allah said about He made us perfect already beforehand, right, when we were shaped in the womb. All right? So, yeah, but that's what you're saying. I'm saying to you this.
Show me
right?
where
I'm
we're
going to say
made.
this to you. I'm gonna say
Show
this
me
to
where
you.
it says that we're made perfect.
That we're not made, that we're made perfect. No, we're perfected. We are supposed to become perfected. I can't show you where it says it in there.
I don't believe
have
so.
to go and get somebody who knows more about the Quran than me in terms of where to find the
problem.
verse, right? But I'll say this. I say this to you. Again, it's a very westernized school of thought, way of
No.
thinking. I'll tell you why. You say things like this, but yet there's a whole book that's supposed to come down that's supposed to be perfect.
Oh, the book is
And
perfect.
The book is perfect, and then we're supposed to follow the path, right? And the way, innit?
The best of our ability.
To the best of our, we can't do no best of our ability. Hear me good now. We can't do no best of our ability because we have to have. How does it work again? We submit to Allah, and He provides that for us.
Can I give you?
He's the best. Wait, He's the best of all. No, isn't the best provider? He's the best of all of them.
Yes, he's perfect. He's perfect.
So if
The
he's
book is perfect.
So if the book is perfect, and it's not, but if the book is perfect,
Yeah.
then if we follow that way, don't we become perfected too?
Let me give you a practical example.
But you have to, because you gave me one before, which wasn't in the Quran. I never pulled you up and say, where is it in the Quran? We tell you about Terry standing up here.
I'm going to give you a practical example, not from the Quran, from the Sunnah. The month of Ramadan, as Muslims, we fast.
Okay.
On the last day of Ramadan, or the last few days of Ramadan, we give something called Zakat al-Fitr. Zakat al-Fitr is zakat, a charity. Zakat means to purify, it means to increase. Fitr as in the day we open the fast. This money, it should be given to poor people before the Eid prayer is established. So it shouldn't even be given money, it should be given in food. The Prophet Muhammad explained the reason why we give Zakat al-Fitr is to make up for our errors and mistakes we made in Ramadan. Okay. When we pray the 5 times a day, when we finish, Assalamu alaikum tullah, Assalamu alaikum tullah, from the Sunnah, from the way of the Prophet Muhammad is to seek forgiveness 3 times.
Yeah.
Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Why? Because we made some deficiency in our prayer. Our mind went, our concentration went. We didn't give Allah His due rights. The Prophet Muhammad he said in the authentic hadith, on the Day of Judgment, the first thing we're going to be held to account for is our prayer. If the prayer is found to be sound, then everything else will be sound and correct. If the prayer is deficient, everything else will be deficient. Then the hadith mentions that Allah will ask the angels, even though Allah knows already, has this person done any optional deeds, like optional prayers?
Why would He ask the angels if He knows already?
I'll tell you why. And He said, in order to make up for deficiency, the reason why He asked the angels is because in the beginning, in Surah Baqarah, when Allah informed the angels He's going to create mankind to be Khalifa, generation of successors in this world.
Can I get a free copy?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
When He's going to create us on earth, the angels question the wisdom. Why are you going to create mankind on the earth when they will shed blood and they will cause corruption on the earth?
Sounds a bit like the Jewish account, yeah.
And Allah said to them that I know that which you do not know. So Allah, when the people they worship Allah, Allah boasts and Allah reminds the angels of the good mankind has done. So there are things which Allah knows already. Yes. And Allah will say, look, these are the people you said this, but they done this for me. So from the reasons why Allah asked the angels is to show them the wisdom of creating us.
Okay, that's what you're saying, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Right, now, and all of that sounds good.
I'm sorry, just
Okay,
not to be.
yeah.
The whole point of my long going around the houses, which I sometimes do, is to say that Allah does not expect perfection from us. Allah expects us to try as much as we're able.
So the New Testament.
Yeah. وعليكم السلام. تفضل. بارك الله فيكم.
The New Testament.
Yeah.
Gospels talk about. We said the Jesus one.
Yeah.
Be ye perfect. as I am perfect. You familiar with that?
I'm familiar, as in I've heard it before. I can't remember the exact reference, but I am familiar.
So
It does
you're
say.
familiar? It's not a Sun newspaper thing. That's actually in the Bible.
I've heard it a lot, yeah.
Okay, so now is that correct or is that incorrect? If it's correct, then that doesn't mean two contradictions can't exist. But
Without going around the houses, let me just give you the very, in a nutshell, our position with the Bible. Something which is in the Bible, if it's confirmed by the Quran, we accept it. Something which is in the Bible and is rejected by the Quran, we reject it. Such as God taking a son, such as Jesus dying on the cross, etc. And then third is, if something is mentioned in the Bible and it's not affirmed or rejected by Quran, we hold back. But this statement about being perfect, I don't think it's possible for a human being to be perfect.
fine, but that's you, but you're not.
No, but I gave you from Quran, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, fear Allah as much as you're able.
So you can say, I can understand where you're coming from and the reference that you're using to support what you're saying. I totally understand that. But what I'm saying to you now is that the reference where you use that name Jesus, that don't go there. See what I'm saying to you? That goes to where ye are perfect. Be perfect like me perfect, and that goes there where Matthew, when you quote Matthew, when you talk the other ones, talking about some man supposed to have been on some cross. Do you understand? And that type of things. Whereas the Quran don't say he's on. He was made to seem like he was there, but he wasn't there.
The Quran doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that he wasn't on the cross.
The Quran says, وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ مَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُم.
Meaning what?
They did not kill him. They did not crucify him. But it appeared so to them. Just very simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that we made it appear to them. It just said it appeared so to them. They understood it that way.
Right. Now when something appears to me, just like you could say Terry standing up here and tell a lie about me and say it appears that he had two people around him. The narrator, the person who's narrating it, that you don't know who's writing it, is saying these things that is now becomes word, right? That's in the word. So he gets a free pass. He doesn't get no scrutiny. The one who's written this thing down to say Terry had two people standing up there, what appears to be.
It's a side issue. It's a side issue, but no, I'll tell you why. But it has to do with it has to do with the original language.
Is that where you want to put it down?
I'm going to tell you why. Yeah, I'm going to put it there. In Arabic, I'm sure it's in English as well, you can have a verb where the doer is not mentioned. I'll give you an example. Muhammad hit Ali. Muhammad hit Ali. Okay?
You cannot conflate the two.
Let me finish.
Okay.
And you can say Ali was hit. When you say Ali was hit, now you can't blame anyone who hit him. You just know that he was hit. Yeah.
You don't know who.
So when the Quran says it appeared so, it doesn't attribute that Allah made it appear that way. It's just that some people, they claimed it. And then the Quran continues by saying, those people who say that he was killed on the cross, they only have doubts. They have no certainty. But rather we raised him. So Allah negates that he died on the cross.
Right. So you say Allah negates his dying on the cross, right? Because you just told me about something else. You just told me about it doesn't say this and doesn't say that. So
it doesn't say that Allah made it appear so.
But it doesn't say. Does it say? Let me put you to the spot. Does it say that what you just the last sentence that you said there? That
Yeah. It does.
It does. It says that Allah says what?
No. I'll show you what it says. Just while I'm finding it, what do you actually believe, sir?
Now, what do I believe?
Yeah.
No, what I know.
Oh, what do you know? Sorry.
Yeah, like what? I don't know. I know.
Are you a Muslim?
Yeah, I'm born a Muslim.
Alhamdulillah. Do you believe that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last messenger?
Do I believe Muhammad is?
Or do you know that Muhammad is the messenger? Okay. Let me just see.
Now, why do you ask those two kind of questions?
Because I'll tell you the honest truth.
Yeah, that's all I'm dealing with, honestly.
I came here today with the intent of calling people to Islam and trying to clarify. So when we're having a discussion, I'm not sure if you're Muslim, I'm not sure if you're not Muslim. So then it shapes the way I mean, we're having this conversation about your questions, and I'm trying to put my point across. But at the same time, I have an idea in my mind that if you're Muslim or you're not Muslim, I'm going to call it. Yeah. No, it doesn't make a difference to the answers, but it makes a difference of, am I going to call you to Islam or?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying to you.
Okay, here it is.
But
Here it
Allah
is.
calls anyway.
One.
Where does it say that what you're talking about? This is to do with this Jesus, right?
Yeah. So chapter 4, 157. For their saying, indeed we have killed Messiah, Jesus, but obviously it doesn't say Jesus, the son of Mary, the messenger of Allah. They did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but was made to resemble him to them. And indeed, those who differ over it are in doubt about it. They have no knowledge of it except they follow assumptions, and they did not kill him for certain. Rather, Allah raised him to himself, and he is ever, and ever is Allah exalted in might and right. So my point is that those people who say this, Allah says they have no certainty and they're in doubt.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like, as opposed to trying to support the argument, and then when it doesn't hold water, you did that nicely on that one. You did, but you need to consider that a bit more in that way, because Allah can defend himself, right? And when you raise the question,
definitely Allah can defend himself. Yeah. Sorry? Definitely Allah can defend himself.
Well, then that's what we should do. So when you read it there, it didn't say the point you picked out and said at the end. It actually says he did not get crucified.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But then all the rest, this is what my point is.
But those people who say he did, they have no certainty. They only follow doubt.
I understand the narrative about all the people over there, but I'm not talking about all the people over there. I'm talking about now. This is what the Quran is saying about that situation. That this person that you called the name Jesus to, that the English translation of this is busted, that same name. He's not the same person that all these people are related to out there that you've got up here. This person out here is the one who got this. Come on, man. This person, he got this on the cross. That's him.
No, that's not how we see it.
That's not. No, good brother. Watch again. Watch again, because that's what I'm saying. You won't be true. Look, this is on here.
Yeah.
This one who submits himself to the will of
Allah.
This one is a fiction. And when I said this to your brother, he said the reason they put this here is so that because people out here know they're familiar with this. And I'm saying, why are we putting this here if it's a fiction? Why are we dropping the standard? You understand? He said, because they wouldn't know. Well, everybody who sees this one who doesn't know, tends to look at this one, bringing Jesus who is on a cross.
Okay.
And then I'll come to you with that question, and then after you give me all what you've just given me, and when you eventually go and read something in the Quran about it, it says that he didn't get put on the cross. So we not only we've got this Jesus name doesn't exist, we've also got he wasn't dead on the cross. And then here, the next part, you mentioned Matthew and them boys. Next part, they're linking up this Jesus with this word God. So now, God, Jesus, God, Jesus is now linked with Muslim. That's now linked with Allah. That now Allah gets dropped down in the definition, and Allah becomes God.
As I return it.
You see my point?
I see your point, but I don't agree with it. I agree with it to a certain extent, but here. We are talking about conveying information.
Okay.
In a way that can be understood.
Now, who's the best conveyor?
Allah.
So let's go back to what Allah says about it. That verse that you showed me again. Just pull it up
but
again,
see, the thing is.
Can you pull it up again for me?
No, but this is
no.
No. I will. But this is not. This here is an English translation. We don't believe this is speech of Allah. So if I was to say to you. If I was just to talk to you in Arabic and say it, it's possible that you understand, but it's possible that someone else doesn't. So we use a translation.
This is what I would do if you want to do that now. So Allah hasn't inspired you to come out of a fiction and use English words, and Allah is the best of all knowers, okay? And then He can't inspire you, or Allah can't give you the words to say in English that is truthful.
No, we're
No?
not. We're not on the same page,
All right,
Terry.
then we get the same page then what you said before,
Okay.
like I said, and you're going to read it in English to me again. All right, when you read it in English to me, because if you read it into me in Arabic or in the, I ain't got no comment about it because I can't even speak the language first of all.
But when
Do
I
you
read
understand?
it in English, this is not what Allah said.
But then why are you giving me something that Allah never said?
Because
I shouldn't have to take something Allah. Why should I take anything less than what Allah can give me? Why are you
Because-
giving me something watered down?
هل تفهم عربية?
Arabia, I'm not too sure what you're talking about.
Do you understand Arabic?
No.
Okay, I don't, only a little.
Only a
But the
little.
thing is, if I read it to you in Arabic, you wouldn't understand it. So it's a translation. Translation is not Quran. Translation is a way to convey
Let me say
it.
something.
The
to
same
you.
way,
Do you think
where's
that
the
Allah-
word
do you think
Jesus?
that, wait, do
Yeah.
you think that Allah,
Yeah.
taking away doctrine now, because that's
Yeah.
all that is, do you think that Allah can't speak to me in nature directly to me without even me going through the Quran? Do you think Allah can't do that? You see the front covers, in between the front covers and the back cover in this book, if this book wasn't there, Allah couldn't speak to me?
Question?
That's a question, yeah.
I'm going to answer you.
You can ask me?
Okay. Allah has commanded us to judge by the Quran. Allah has commanded us to follow the Quran. Allah has commanded us to read the Quran. Allah has commanded us to contemplate and reflect upon the Quran. So, your question, with all due respect, is irrelevant. You're saying if
It's irrelevant.
because you know, I'll tell you why. Because Allah, let me finish, the all-wise, the all-knowing, chose to send down the Quran as a guidance for mankind. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات.
My Muslim brother who can tell this thing and he will tell you.
No problem.
There's things in that says directly, you know. So remember,
Chapter
Muhammad
2,
couldn't read. Muhammad
verse-
obviously couldn't read and couldn't write.
He couldn't read or write,
Right.
yes.
So if he couldn't read and couldn't write, but
Yeah.
he could get a direct inspiration from Allah. That you want to tell me about the only way I.
But he's the messenger. He received revelation. You're not a
But you're saying
messenger.
that, right. Yeah, but you see now you say I'm not the messenger. I don't have to be the messenger. I just have to receive the message.
No.
I have to, I'm
No.
going to show you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you.
No.
I'm going to show you.
I'll show you from Quran.
I'm going to show you.
You-
No, you
to
can't
be-
show me from here. I'll tell you why you can't show me from here. Because that thing, that verse that you read,
Yeah.
that I said you'd read it again, you said, oh, well, it's in English. So now you're going to, when you're ready, you're going to want to choose things that you're going to read to me in English from here. But things that don't support your argument, that Allah's put down here,
Yeah.
you don't want to read it again. This is what it says. So it's a defense thing. You're trying to defend something that is beyond you defending it. You don't need to defend it. Let Allah be the judge. Let Allah be the one there and let it come that way. And my thing was nothing to do with all of that. It was just to do with this thing about this Jesus, with God, and this person dying on the cross, and the reasons why it would be much better to talk the truth.
Terry, I don't have anything more to say.
Yeah, okay.
You can say your conclusion.
Yeah, let me close this then.
No problem.
Right. Let me close this now. The
Yes.
whole point is this, my brother.
Yeah.
Is to move the envelope because of the colonialism that happened, the usurping of power in a lot of countries around the world, that we've become institutionalized with using languages that is not sufficient for what we really mean, and it doesn't, when you take those languages, it doesn't even tie up with the same character. So we become, what's the word? By default. Do you see what I mean?
A form of mental slavery, you mean, like that? Or
It's
we're
a
in,
kind of it's a lie, isn't it? It's a lie. It's satanic. It's satanic. It's satanic.
Terry, I agree with you to a point, but not 100%.
That's okay. I tell you what, agree with this then. All right,
I do.
because it's in there what it says, and it says about the truth and the liars. But I tell you what, I've got to respect
No
you.
problem, Terry. Thank you very much for your time.
And you, yeah?
All the
Well done,
best.
mate. Thank you.
Are you taking your teammates with you?
Eh?
Are you taking your teammates with you?
Yeah,
I'm joking.
One's named Gabriel.